So today's game,
We're gonna beat the shit out of them.
You see this right here? How do you feel about today's game?
We better win, that's all I know.
How do you feel about Dak Prescott after last week's performance?
Dak Prescott has been very consistent with the division. He has took us back-to-back 12-5 seasons. You know what I mean? He has winning records above. You can say what you want about the past 7 years, but on our division, he has been owning it for years.
Are you a Dak rider or are you a Dak hater?
Before he broke his finger, I was a rider. Now, nah. They need to let him go now.
You know Dak Prescott's watching this right now, right? Actually follows the CanFan podcast.
Look.
Woo! Let's go!
Let's go, baby! Cowboys Nation, son! Let's go! Cowboys Nation represent! Cowboys Nation represent! Let's go!
Crack 'em if you got 'em.
Crack 'em if you got 'em, son. All day, every day.
Crack 'em if you got 'em, Seattle.
Here we are at Lumen Field. And is that a Harry Potter reference? Maybe. I don't know. I've casted a lot of Lumen spells.
Lumen videos.
We want to see Deuce represent. We want to see him repeat. I want some repeats. And I don't need 3 beats if they repeat.
I don't need 3 beats.
I don't need
if
3
they
beats.
repeat.
If they repeat. Let's go.
You don't think we're gonna make the postseason?
Maybe wild card.
So this is
Maybe wild card.
This is where I'm like, I'm good for a good ribbing, but like to say we're not going to make the postseason, now I can't even argue with you because you've sucked. Oh God!
You know it too. You know it.
Who's your quarterback?
Fucking we got.
This is our year.
Look at those dudes. Look at those dudes. Look at those dudes. Look at those dudes.
Let's go! Let's go, Cowboys! Let's go, baby! Cowboys Nation showing up!
Most pristine athletes in modern history playing in the NFL. Even the offensive linemen are incredibly athletic. I mean, these guys are over 300 pounds, and you know they can.
Not only the size, but the speed.
Anthony, Adam, AJ on the block. Dallas Cowboys swag about to rock the flock. Canadian host to them Philly birds get mocked. Cowboys CanFan podcast gang locked.
Oh!
Vancouver reppin' Dallas, show some real skill. Knockin' Philly chunks, we roast them on the grill. Crack 'em if you got 'em, hear the buzz and thrill. Big D.
How does that the intro song when it starts talking trash about Philly? How nice is that? Now that
I honestly, when I'm over here on the Zoom call, I can't hear it, so I didn't technically hear the intro, but it talking shit about Philly, especially after they lost yesterday. You gotta like it. You gotta like that. But before we talk about anything, the show's called the Monday Hangover, and I'm not hungover one little bit.
I'm not
hungover.
hungover.
Didn't play yesterday.
I know, yeah. The Thursday night one, it's almost like a few days later. There's no hangover. I wasn't even hungover on the Friday. I thought we were pretty tame.
I wasn't hungover, but I left your place the next day at about 4:20 a.m. in the morning, so I was tired, but not hungover, just tired.
Yeah. But hey,
did you watch any games yesterday?
I was watching Red Zone. I had to do a bunch of stuff. I watched Red Zone, and then I was watching the Sunday Nighter, and then
you didn't watch the Commanders win. You didn't watch the Eagles lose.
No, I was seeing highlights, but I didn't sit down and watch the games yesterday. Unfortunately,
that's your next level of fandom.
Well, no, I usually do, but because it was a long weekend for us and Lynn's had to work on Saturday. I thought, okay, well, we'll do a few things together since it's when you have that rare Sunday open because the Cowboys aren't playing. got to sometimes do husband and father duties on those days, you know?
Well, so your boring family talk, we'll get past that because something more importantly happened yesterday, and the Eagles lost and the Commanders won. So the Commanders are now ahead of the NFC East, and we are tied with those dirty birds, and the Giants fall into last place because the Cowboys laid, I'm not even going to call it an ass whooping. It was 20-15, as you can see behind my head. It was a closer game than I expected. But like I said, after the game, just beating a divisional rival, you can't take the loss as a bad thing if you don't beat them by, say, more than 30 points. Like, a win's a win against a divisional matchup.
For sure. I mean, you see a couple of people are like, I get it, a win's a win, but it was against a garbage team. Don't fool yourselves, CanFan Nation, Cowboys fans. But I mean, hey, we have to take it. We have to take those notches off of our belt throughout the season. We see all of our NFC rivals multiple times, so you got to win it when you're up to them, right? Right, AJ?
Yeah, what do you got in AJ's spot?
I got a pile of jerseys in AJ's spot. Here, let me.
As everyone can witness, there is no Bandwagon Boy 2. He's still in Vegas, or he's traveling back from Vegas today, so he'll be back for the Wednesday night main event. But getting back to the game, one of my main takeaways is that the defense held the Giants to 15 points. And sure, the Giants offense was able to go up and down the field, but by them holding them to 3 points instead of 7, that was the tale of the game. Even one touchdown by the Giants instead of a field goal, and it's a tie game. So holding teams to field goals and then having the Cowboys being able to score touchdowns, like I talked about the Ravens game, but prior to the Ravens game, is a huge
win. I mean, look, the when you can hold any type of NFL football team to field goal onlys, that is a good defensive showing, is it not? Regardless if it's the trash Eagles, like we saw, or sorry, the trash Giants, and Daniel Jones. But it's not as though you had trash players. Like Malik Neighbors was the second coming to wide receivers, and he got shut down. But I mean, why don't we go ahead?
He had over 100 yards.
No touchdowns though.
Yeah. Then don't break. But he still had a very good game. Like Malik Neighbors is probably the one shining spot for that Giants team, and he still got his yards. Like, I thought he still had a pretty decent game against the Cowboys. Like, you have it up there. Daniel Jones threw 20 for 40, 200 and was that say 81 yards?
281 yards, one interception.
How many of those yards went to Malik Neighbors?
Well, let's take a look. So Malik Neighbors has 115 of those yards.
So, I mean, I wouldn't say that's shutting him down.
Yeah, targeted. So yes, he did not see the end zone, so didn't get shut down. I guess what the stat that I would like to look at more so is like, and I guess I was going into Trevon Diggs shutting him down. I mean, a lot of those yards came up against non-Diggs style players. Like that was, and we saw Andrew Wilkes Booth get torched a few times from him. He was having troubles to the point where he got pulled from being in there. But yeah, I guess you could say he wasn't completely shut down, but he didn't see the end zone. So I mean, that we did our jobs there. There was zero running game for both teams. But why don't we go from top down and we'll just kind of go stat by stat, go through the list here. So we'll start with since we're talking about the Giants and how they didn't really show up. We have Daniel Jones, 29 for 40, 281 yards, one interception. We saw that close out the game. Devin Singletary, their main running back, carried 14 times for 24 yards. 5 yards was his longest yards. What do you think about that? I mean, the Giants, since losing Saquon Barkley, didn't primarily have a run game, but the Cowboys are also known for having weak run defense. Are you happy about that, or you think that it's a non-issue because it's the Giants?
No, I think holding a team to the amount of 26 yards for total rushing is huge, especially how the Cowboys have played against the Saints and the Ravens. Holding a team to under 50 yards is a big feat in the NFL, even though the Giants clearly don't have a team that has a good runner anymore. But I'll still take it as a win. The bigger loss is D-Law and Micah Parsons getting injured. Yep. So will that ever happen again this season, or will those guys are out? I don't know. But right now I'll take that as a win.
Yep. Not much more outside of Devin Singletary. Daniel Jones, rushed 4 times for 5 yards total. We were talking a bit about it before, but we have Malik Neighbors. Obviously, they're number one, wearing the number one. 12 receptions, targeted 15 times, 115 yards, longest 39, and he left the game with a concussion. So would he have seen the end zone? We don't know. I actually don't know what his status is right now. He probably will see their next game. I don't think if it is concussion protocol, I think they're on a decent amount of time before their next game. So he might make it back for the next game, but who cares? We're not playing them next. Wandale Robinson, he's the one that they were targeting once Malik Neighbors was kind of getting shadowed by Diggs. We did see Diggs miss Robinson on that one tackle, I believe it was. I'm pretty sure Diggs went up and we were yelling, you got to make that next time. But anyways, 11 receptions, 71 yards. Slayton, three targets for 56 yards. Again, not a heck of a lot from the rest of the receiving corps from the New York Giants.
CeeDee Lamb, big touchdown, 55-yard touchdown, which was probably the biggest play of the game. You had Rico Dowdle with another receiving touchdown for the Cowboys. So Dak had a clean game. I know we had already skipped over him, but no interceptions, no turnovers by the Cowboys, which was a nice sight. And then they had that interception of Daniel Jones at the very end to kind of seal the game. But the biggest losses like that aren't on the stat sheet and that are going to affect the Cowboys going in against the game against the Steelers is the injuries to Micah Parsons and the injury to DeMarcus Lawrence. Like that doesn't come up on the stat sheet, but that's going to affect the season more than the win on the column for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I think if we look at, do
we have any news on that? Like, have you heard anything about that?
No, nothing.
Well, should we look it up?
Yep. Yeah, I can go. Look, I have I was going down all the Giants first, and then I was going to go down the Dallas Cowboys, but I guess we should have did position. Hey, this is usually we have Stat Boy, but I have a laundry basket beside me instead as my.
Well, again, I think the injuries are kind of more important. I think are the bigger hangover from the game than even the stats are. To be fair,
yeah, I wanted us to talk a little bit about Dak Prescott and how he's been playing, and are we going to see? I mean, we saw him target CeeDee Lamb a ton. Primarily in the first half, and it obviously paid off with a touchdown. Let me see if I can bring something up for Micah Parsons.
The trick with this too is we didn't do this right after, so it's a little bit different. It doesn't feel like we've moved past the game entirely, but it was played on Thursday. It's Monday night, so my brain's already kind of thinking of, and I hate to say it, the Steelers game, because the whole point of this show is to discuss the Giants Cowboys, but in my mind, I'm already thinking about the Steelers, and the biggest fallout from the Giants game was Micah Parsons being hurt.
Well, we do know that D-Law has a longer time to come. Right now, obviously, Micah Parsons saying if he can play, he will. Let's see what we got here, though. We're doing this live. Micah Parsons says he's kind of considered himself invincible for a while, and he's now humbled.
When did this article come out?
2 hours ago.
Okay, so it's fresh.
Yep. I went for the freshest one. The way the schedule stands, Parsons could recover for about a month if he misses the game against the Steelers and the October 13 matchup with the Detroit Lions. The Cowboys, who are 2-2, have a bye after that, then return October 27th against the San Francisco 49ers, which we will be at Levi Stadium there, hoping to see Parsons hit that field. He says, when you're a real competitor, you only get 17 chances at this. And missing one of these chances to perform at the highest level bothers me. So I feel like I want to play this Sunday. I want to play. If I can play, I will.
No, you're not playing.
You're not playing.
There's no way he's playing.
No, there's no way he's playing. Because let me see if I can actually
was that the only article about? Because I get it. He's obviously going to say that if he can play, he wants to play, and missing game sucks. But is there a realistic article out there? Because I saw some Twitter posts saying that he was going to at least bare minimum be out to that San Francisco game.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. Keep here.
And then I know D-Law has the Lisfranc injury for his foot, which puts him out between 4 to 8 weeks. So you definitely aren't going to have Micah Parsons or DeMarcus Lawrence in this game coming up against the Steelers. And that's going to be the biggest takeaway from the Giants game, is losing those two guys, because sure, getting the win is important, but losing two guys on your two starters on your defensive line is a huge kick in the balls and is going to make the Cowboys going into the bye week needing to at least split the games between the Steelers and the Lions.
Right. So this Sports Illustrated had this posted 2 hours ago. Obviously, they're waiting for that Monday Night Football audience to look online after work. But Friday afternoon, it was confirmed that Parsons indeed had a high ankle sprain. A return timeline has not been decided upon, but the Cowboys have 2 more games before a bye week in Week 7. So nothing yet about Parsons and when he's returning. they're probably going to keep it hush hush to see how things go. But yeah, it's not looking good. You're right. It's probably not going to be minimum. It's going to be the San Francisco game, and that's minimum, right?
So D-Law, Parsons, we're both saying are injured for the next, at minimum, 4 weeks.
Yeah, and then D-Law has a more serious injury or more time that he's going to need to heal. I thought it was 8 weeks that I last heard, but
so that's what I'm saying. The biggest takeaway for the game and the biggest hangover from the game. Sure, the stats are fun to look at, but I want to talk more about how you think losing both those guys is going to affect the Cowboys, and is a win over the Giants, losing those guys, worth it, or how do you feel about it going forward?
Well, I definitely am not excited about it, particularly because of the games that we have coming up. Like, this is our gauntlet schedule coming up right now. We have Steelers, Detroit Lions, then we have the San Francisco 49ers, and then was it the Falcons and then the Eagles? Something like that. But I have a scheduler here. So I think right now we don't have enough depth in those positions. And we're, like, everybody who is talking about Micah Parsons disappearing later in the games or the second half of the season, like, we don't have the depth. We didn't do anything to really get the depth. Marshawn Nealon isn't up to that level yet. He's only been playing for 3 weeks. So to think that, a guy like Sam Williams could have possibly came in and fit, and he still would have been, I think if Sam Williams was still here, we both would have been a little bit nervous or worried about Sam Williams even taking the field in place of a Micah Parsons or a D-Law. And that's just one of them going out. But now we have both of them out. We have a big issue on our defensive end on an already struggling defensive line.
Yeah, Micah's been quiet. D-Law's been quiet. They've been all right in the run game, but I think missing those guys is going to be a huge surprise for Cowboys fans and people that have kind of been critical of Micah. Well, we're about to see how detrimental he is to have on this squad going forward. And it sucks that he got hurt against the Giants, but maybe having this happen earlier in the season isn't the worst thing. And at least they do have the bye coming up in a couple weeks, but it's a big loss. Like, even you lose one of those guys against a team, and it's a big loss. To lose both of them, I'm just interested to see what Mike Zimmer is going to end up doing to try to mask the loss of those guys. The defense hasn't been great by any stretch of the imagination. They were decent against the Giants. We saw that they held the Giants to under 30 yards rushing. Daniel Jones, had an interception, didn't throw a touchdown pass. The Giants didn't even score a touchdown. So that was good to see, but this defense is going to look completely different without having two of their mainstays, two guys that have been Pro Bowl players, all-pro players. D-Law has been a mainstay and captain for a while, and Micah was finally starting to try to find a stride as that captain type player. So it's a big loss, and one that's going to be felt, and one that Mike Zimmer is going to have to try to mask.
Like, who do you shift into that spot? Obviously, Nealon, and then who else are you going to put in there?
I don't even know. They're going to have to do a bunch of different kind of crazy things. They're going to have to mask it with blitzing. They're going to have to try to show fronts that the defense hasn't seen. And I'm not, as far as like losing a D-Law, I think you can find replacements for D-Law and still have a successful team. But to not have that Micah Parsons presence and having that all the time, that guy that can at any moment take over the game and have 10 pressures in a game, I don't know if there's anyone on the team that can kind of come in and do that type of shit that Micah Parsons does.
Yeah, well, because look at this right here. So we have on our left defensive edge, you have DeMarcus Lawrence, who it's saying he's doubtful here, but he's actually going to be put on IR. I just saw a Blogging the Boys article as I was scanning through that says that DeMarcus Lawrence is going to be on IR. So you have Lawrence and Johnson on IR, and then you have Parsons, who won't go on IR. He's just not going to be able to play. And then you have Sam Williams on IR. So like we're already a banged up, no depth defensive line. And now you have Chauncey Golston coming in. So you have Chauncey Golston, now Marshawn Nealon. Who's gonna play backup to Golston?
Tyrus Wheat.
He's playing backup to Marshawn Nealon. So they are gonna have to elevate someone from the practice squad, I'm assuming. With
practice squad, or try to go out and trade for someone.
Yeah, because if you look at it, if you think, okay, so with them, so Micah Parsons still counts to the roster spot, but when someone drops onto IR, you're able to elevate somebody without affecting, right? So,
yeah.
So they're gonna, if they put, because Lawrence, if it is true, and Lawrence is going to be going to the IR, then he is obviously being assessed that he's going to take is going to be a longer time to recover than Micah Parsons, which then means they can bring somebody up to that spot.
Do you have an article about DeMarcus Lawrence instead of us guessing? Do we have a time frame on Twitter? Or,
yeah, so blogging the boys say Cowboys plan to put DeMarcus Lawrence on IR, player workouts to follow. See, this is also the trouble when there's only two of us. Sometimes one of us can, like AJ over there, can kind of start to read the stats as you and I are talking. But
let's just do it live. Just scroll down until there's a Twitter post. Like, see, you got a Twitter post there. What's it say?
Yeah, both Micah Parsons. This is on September 30th today. So both Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence in walking boots and using medical scooters today in the locker room.
Medical scooters.
Medical, yeah.
What the hell's a medical scooter? Is that one of those?
It's those where you have your leg up on it and you're pushing like.
I shouldn't be laughing about it. Just I had a funny picture of them cruising around Mario Kart-esque style.
Like these.
Oh,
things
is it the one on the left there?
It's like this thing here, and you put your knee on it.
I see. Then you put your knee on it.
Yeah,
kind of what guys get when they have their Achilles torn.
Yeah, exactly.
So man, does that suck?
It does suck. So here we go. Expecting Parsons to be ready to face the Pittsburgh Steelers would be wishful thinking. We already talked about that. 49ers are more realistic. So Lawson, former third-round pick, Chauncey Golson, and rookie Marshawn Nealon will be first in line, which we just talked about, to be starters this week in Pittsburgh. Nealon has shown flashes and limited opportunities, but with Dallas already relying so heavily on their rookie class, it could be a lot to ask from Nealon. Let's see if they ask about. Yeah, so nothing right now. However, the current free agent pass rushers do not inspire much confidence. Two potential names the team could consider are Shaq Lawson and Anthony Barr. And
which Anthony Barr has played for the Cowboys before.
Yeah.
So I got report DeMarcus Lawrence out 4 to 8 weeks with Lince Frank injury in his right foot.
Yep.
So that's being reported by Pro Football Talk. They're saying that, and actually in 2021, Lawrence missed 10 games with a broken foot. So he's had injuries to his feet before. So this isn't a new thing. And Coach Mike McCarthy said immediately after the game, Lawrence did not have a fracture. So they're not going to need any surgery, which is good. They're going to just kind of go at it without the surgery and see how it happens. But right now they're saying 4 to 8 weeks. And that's why you see him on IR, because IR, you automatically are missing the 4 weeks. But man, 4 to 8 weeks, what's that put him playing at? That puts him playing into like Thanksgiving.
I'll tell you right now. So
like at 8 weeks, what week? 8 weeks.
Okay, so
week
we're
12?
we're at 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Monday, November 18th, Houston Texans. He could possibly back. That's 8 weeks from now.
Jeez.
So Texans, and then the week after would be the Commanders, and
which
then
we're at.
No, we're at the Giants, which is the Thursday.
Sorry, Giants.
Yeah, Commanders are the Sunday game. Which now you think?
Yeah, so that's a kit. That's the hangover right there in a nutshell, man. That right there is the hangover in the nutshell. The fallout from the DeMarcus Lawrence foot injury and the Micah Parsons high ankle strain. But one thing we haven't done lately, and we should do. Who do you have as your Kraken player of the game?
Oh wow. Okay, you know what? My Kraken player of the game has to be Dak Prescott. I
think that's fair.
If we look at his stats, I'll go back to them. We look at Dak Prescott's stack and stats. Dakota he was 22 for 27, 221 yards, 2 tutties. Like how, and he played a clean game. There was no interceptions. Didn't look like he forced the ball too much. Like we see sometimes where Dak can kind of get out there. He had 2 rushes for negative yardage, so we won't look at that. But yeah, mine would be Dak Prescott. I'd like to go CeeDee Lamb, but I think CeeDee Lamb, you probably needed to put one more in the end zone.
Another touchdown, or at least have over 120 yards. Yeah. How many tackles did Overshown have? I know DeMarvion Overshown was all over the place. Okay, so you got both the linebackers there, Eric Kendrick with 13 total tackles. Is that 6 solo?
Yep, 6
and
solo.
And then DeMarvion Overshown with 9 total tackles and 6 solo. So that's nice to see those guys getting out there. Overshown was flying around. But again, I think Dak Prescott's the obvious Kraken player of the game, and it feels good that we can finally give it to him. I still don't think it was a crazy performance. Another touchdown and he would have been a shoo-in. But what about Armani? How do you say his last name?
Armani Oruwari.
Also known as AO.
AO. OA, baby. Yeah, I mean,
he had a nice interception coming in. He spelled Wilkes Booth. Once Booth Jr. was getting burned, they kind of switched him out for AO, and AO ended up coming up big when the game was on the line.
Yeah, he had 3 tackles, 3 solo tackles. So he kind of like shows that. I mean, he did. You know, Booth over here had 4. I don't know his entire stat line because they're not showing us. But outside, I mean, the 1 interception, it came at like a pretty pivotal moment because if they would have taken that into the end zone, it would have been a different tale of the tape, right? So yeah, there is a Kraken player of the game contention that it could be to AO or OA, however.
I don't know. I still think Dak. I think Dak's the fair one.
Yeah, I mean, like it was still a low scoring game, so you kind of wanted to see maybe 1 more touchdown, 3 touchdowns, a bit more yardage. I know a lot of people were expecting Dak to get over 250 yards this game.
Can you look at the running back stats for a second? Because you obviously you said you watched the Sunday night game last night, and you watched Derrick Henry just run all over the place. A guy that the Dallas Cowboys didn't decide to pursue, a guy that we all wanted the Cowboys to pursue. So you look at the Cowboys' offensive totals for rushing in this game against the Giants, and they were held to what is that? Does that say 80 yards?
No. So yeah, total 80 yards for the entire team.
Not good. So the running game's an issue. Derrick Henry's out there running insanely around everyone. Barkley's out there running circles around everyone, and we're running for 80 yards between 5 players.
Yeah, you know what? When you talk about what's another Monday hangover, seeing Derrick Henry just chew the Bills apart, that is a Monday hangover for me.
Yeah, that was. So any final thoughts on the Giants game, Ed?
No, I mean, like you said, it was exciting that the boys could have a morale victory, but it was soon, very, very soon, and too short when we lost DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons to injury. Like it's almost like I would have rather us lost and had them still around.
Actually,
I mean, I don't know.
1 and 3 and lost to the Giants.
No. But I mean,
you gotta take the W.
Yeah, you're right. Take the W. I mean, injuries do happen. I think the biggest thing you could see Micah Parsons absolutely thought he was invincible for a period of time there, and I think this whole time we're thinking, man, what's going to happen when Micah Parsons gets injured? This is the next man up mentality. I would have felt a lot better with Sam Williams healthy, but he's out too. So now we have to, hopefully this is a wake-up call to the Joneses and say, like, you can't just not make moves, man. You can't look bargain bin shopping for people. You have to get depth in all areas. And like, what the F are they doing? Like this weekend, because you brought up the Derrick Henry, it just further makes me not appreciate what the front office did over the offseason. And this whole fire the GM Jerry campaigns that are going on right now. It's like, hopefully Jerry's ego gets bruised and he goes out and he makes a big, some sort of big move to bring some personnel in here. Because we need.
Well, they got some money.
Yeah, they do have some money.
The Cowboys got some money, but at the end of the day, the Cowboys won it over a divisional rival. They get that tick in the NFC East standings. They are 2-2. They finished the week 4 at 2-2, tied for second place in the NFC East, which is huge. I'll take it. Washington again looks like a surprise team that might be vying. Might be a 3-way race to the NFC East title. So I'm excited to see that. But hey, 2-2 is a lot better than 1-3 at this point of the year.
Yeah, I mean, if we were 1-3 right now, it would have been a very, very 1-3 and Micah and Tank gone. That would have been
against the Giants.
That
couldn't happen. We could not have that happen.
Yeah,
it'd be awful to be a Cowboys fan. But we will be back Wednesday night on the main event show. We are going to be breaking down the Steelers versus the Cowboys Sunday Night Football. It's going to be Sunday Night Football, the first Sunday Night Football for the Cowboys. We got the big fella coming up from San Francisco to hang out with us. Hopefully we can get him to 1-1 in the studio. But man, it's not going to be an easy task, and we're going to break it down. We're hoping to have Bryson Carver from the Carving It Up podcast on with us on Wednesday night.
Big Pittsburgh Steelers fan, so he'll come bringing us a lot of Pittsburgh Steelers knowledge. Did you feel a little bit better seeing the Steelers game this weekend?
I mean, the Steelers don't scare me. Their offense isn't great. And they're like Justin Fields doesn't scare me. Their defense is good. I think it's going to be a race to whoever scores 30 points. Dak Prescott and the offense just need to turn it on, and against the Steelers would be a perfect time. But we will break into that, and we will be breaking that down on Wednesday night. But if
hang on. I know you're about to do a call out. I got one quick question because we also didn't talk about one of the most important. He's been the reigning Kraken player of the game for the last 3 weeks. Before this game, Automatic Aubrey, he missed a field goal.
He missed a field goal that wiped a lot of people's 5.5 point spread over the point spread. A lot of people are pissed off about that.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, he's. Do you have faith in him still as the best kicker in the league? Are you worried when he comes up and he lines up?
No, never. Aubrey's the man. He just had he had the Giants covering the spread, and he didn't want to put the Cowboys up. So I still have more than enough faith in Brandon Aubrey. He's the man.
Yeah, love it. Okay, sorry, you were about to do that.
No, you cut off a call out. That you take the call out.
Okay, so if you're out there right now and you know anybody that happens to be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, I want you to go and look them in the eyes, raise your hands up, not to fight them, but to go tell them to go fuck themselves.
Fuck themselves, baby.
Oh, you know what?
Go. Crack 'em if you got them, son.
Whew. That's the music hitting. Okay, we'll see you guys Wednesday.
Canadian hosted them Philly birds get mocked. Cowboys CanFan podcast game locked. Crack 'em if you got 'em, pop tops and chill. Vancouver reppin' Dallas, show some real skill. Knockin' Philly church, we roast them on the grill. Crack 'em if you got 'em, hear the buzz and thrill. Big D, energy, no